Welcome to Orange County Power Players, where we spotlight the personal, professional, and financial success stories of OC's top leaders. Here's your host, Danny Flores.
Welcome back to OC Power Players, where I interview some of the most successful people in Orange County. I'm Danny Flores, your host, and today's honored guest is Sean Swentek, zooming in from Orange. Sean is marketing and communications executive with 20 plus years of experience in B2B and B2C. Also highly active in the nonprofit space. 25 plus years working with organizations delivering sports-based therapy to children with unique needs, including co-founding his own nonprofit, A Walk on the Water, in 2012. He is a VP of marketing at Omnidian, championing clean energy and sustainable innovation. Marketing and GTM leader at Omnidian, where he led and leads initiatives that drive clean energy industry growth to help save the planet. Podcast host focused on sparking conversations with industry leaders on innovation, ESG, and building what's next. Expert in marketing strategy and GTM motions. Also, people first leader, team builder, and lifelong learner. Sean believes results follow when people feel seen, challenged, and supported. He invests in building high trust teams, developing future leaders, and continually improving himself, guided by curiosity, empathy, and integrity, committed to being a great father, husband, and friend. Welcome, Sean.
Wow, Danny, that was like the kindest intro I've ever heard. So thank you for that. Hopefully that wasn't overstating my life, but that was really kind, and I'm thrilled to be on the show.
Yes, happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you're changing the world.
Sure. I'll start with my paying day-to-day job, which is Omnidian. It's based out of Seattle. It's a 9-year-old ex-startup growth stage company in the renewable energy space. We are a technology and services provider for people who invest in clean energy assets like solar energy, battery storage systems for that solar energy, EV charging stations for public and private EV charging. We have a technology product we developed that is AI and machine learning powered that connects through the cloud to those renewable energy assets. We're able to see how they're performing, if they're performing as expected. If something goes wrong, we're able to remotely see what's wrong and diagnose and understand that issue. And then if that issue requires service by a technician in the field, we have a nationwide field service team that we can deploy. And that's nationwide to the US. And then we also expanded into Australia a few years ago. So we are in the US and Australia, and we're looking to grow next year into the European Union as well. So that's my real job, if you will. I've been here 4.5 years. I lead the marketing team and the go-to-market motions program. And just I'm really blessed and grateful to be here. Omnidian, one of the most incredible cultures I've ever seen in a company in my life. I've been in a lot of large corporations, and I think anyone who's worked in the corporate world knows it's not always roses. There can be a lot of trauma and issues and things like that.
Right.
I was really happy running my nonprofit for a number of years and sort of moving on from the corporate space. And when this opportunity appeared from my mentor, Brad Davis, I said, you know what, I'll give it one more chance. And I'm really glad I did. I've never worked at a place where I feel so seen and where they support everyone and encourage people to bring their whole self to work. So feel really blessed to be able to do that and participate in helping to save the planet with renewable energy, getting people away from fossil fuels and carbon producing issues like that. I also, as you mentioned, co-founded a nonprofit, A Walk on Water, back in 2012. We provide surf therapy, so taking children with special needs and disability into the ocean to catch waves on a big board tandem with a professional surf instructor. It's really a life-changing thing for these children. And we also support the families of these children who are often tasked with, a 24/7, 365 job of raising a child with unique needs. and we give them a day of respite on the beach while we take care of their children. There's massage stations and coffee and free food and music, and it's just really like a community event for people to come together and just enjoy the ocean and each other. So I'm really proud of that, and I've started in the nonprofit space back in '99 with
Hmm.
Special Olympics, and I continue to volunteer with them when I can. But I helped establish the snowboarding program for Special Olympics in Southern California back when we still had the Winter Games up at Big Bear. The skiing, of course, was there for many, many years. And then in the early 2000s, when I was on the games leadership team, snowboarding was really burgeoning in popularity. And I was the only volunteer who snowboarded. So it was a natural fit. And I was able to help develop that program and run it for a few years. And I'm really proud of that work. And that got me really just invested in nonprofits, especially those that serve young children who might not have the same advantages as other kids. That really connects with me. And it's something I think is important, especially the idea of sport for youth. I think for me, I grew up playing all the sports, and that was a really important thing for me for building my own self-confidence and integrating with other people and creating lasting friendships. So that's what I do. And then I'm also a father to two young girls and a husband to a wife who's a surgeon at UCI Medical Center in Orange. So I wear a lot of hats, and I love to wear each and every one.
Yeah, no, that is great. Tell us a little bit about, okay, you do these nonprofits and you do these activities for children. I can only imagine what the excitement and what the children feel their first time on a surfboard, or maybe the first time going down one of the bunny slopes on a snowboard, things that they don't or never thought that they could potentially experience. But that for you and everybody who volunteers or who helps with that must be really gratifying, but also the children. Tell us about what that does for them.
Yeah, it is a massive thing, and it's why I'm so attracted to it. The confidence building that happens when a child achieves something that maybe they never thought they would do, or their friends or the bullies at school might say you can't do this, and then they achieve
Hmm.
that. So surfing is not an easy sport, right? And
Mm-mm.
so they get to go to school and say I surfed, and some of those kids who might have been picking on a lot are probably thinking I don't even know how to surf. So it's a pretty cool thing. It's why I really like embraced surf therapy when I found that. Everything I did with Special Olympics, I volunteer for other sports too, volleyball, etc. It's incredible to watch when a child accomplishes something in sport. It's equally awesome to watch the parents' response to that, where they see their kid do something they might have thought they couldn't do.
Hmm.
The thing with surfing and being at the beach in the ocean, this living, breathing Mother Earth creation of the ocean,
Hmm.
power of the waves, is that it adds another piece to the puzzle. And what we've seen and what is actually being proven out scientifically, you can now get a degree, a master's or a PhD in surf therapy. It's really becoming globally accepted. I also helped form the International Surf Therapy Organization, which is a global governing nonprofit for the surf therapy sector, because it's growing so fast. What we
Hmm.
found is that especially for certain things, trauma, for my organization, children with autism or adjacent modalities, that being getting into a wetsuit feels like a big hug. Getting into the ocean and being completely immersed and surrounded by water feels like an even nicer hug. And for these kids with stimulation issues and they experience so much all the time, it's very calming for them. And so the result is there's some incredible stories I can share. The one we always like to talk about is one of our athletes, Jacob, started surfing with Surfers Healing, another organization I volunteered with, and then surfed with a Walk on Water when we formed that in 2012. He was about 6 years old at the time, 5 or 6, and he was nonverbal for his entire life up until this point. He was severe autism. It was very difficult to even get him in the water. He was kicking and screaming and didn't want to go in. Family had heard good things about this and were really invested in it. We got Jacob into the water finally. The surf instructor, took him out, got him to calm down, and just played in the water. I was working with other kids, and then they came in about 40 minutes later, and I saw them. I went to meet them because I wanted to see how it went, and then the family was with me, and the instructor I could see was emotionally, exhausted because it had been difficult to manage him at first, but then there was a real switch in the water, and he said, once I got him to calm down, and then we caught a wave or two, I just felt his body release, And by the third wave, when we were paddling out, he started to talk to me and he said, water, ocean, these words like this. And the parents are going, what are you talking about? Our child doesn't speak. He's never spoken in his life. There's no way he talked to you. But he did, and he had, and now, 14 years later, Jacob is a 20-year-old young man who you can have a full conversation with and is a really wonderful human. So it's powerful and it's magical in a way.
So that one day being in the water got him to open up and speak, and from there on, he learned how to speak.
Yeah, and I think just that his parents just went all in, and they've been volunteers with us. Unfortunately, his father Sam, a good friend of mine, passed away last year of a brain tumor. But the mother Jennifer and the rest of the family continued to invest in their son's therapy sessions. So he surfed with a Walk on Water and other organizations like Surfers Healing and others for hundreds of times over the last 14 years. And I think that continued therapeutic element of getting in the water and doing the activity is really what has helped him get to where he is today.
Now that's life changing for him and his
For
parents,
the whole family,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
We bring the what some people say neurotypical or normal functioning siblings in the ocean with their sibling with special needs, so they get to do this activity together. Because the other big thing with a child with special needs is if they have a neurotypical sibling, they're often on very different life, school, education, therapy paths, and they don't get to do a lot of shared activities. So we want to create that bond between them where they're bonding over a shared experience.
That sounds like a really good program, and it touches so many people's lives in such a
Yeah,
positive
I'm
way.
really grateful. I honestly, in today's day and age with my job at Omnidian, I'm very hands-on. A Walk on Water is now very capably run by a board of directors that I'm no longer on, but I'm still advised to, and I still, help with fundraising. And there's incredible people running the day-to-day events. I go to as many of them as I can. We're up and down the California coast, and we also have an East Coast chapter based out of New York. So we do events out in New York, New Jersey. We're having our first event in Florida this year. And so the organization continues to thrive and grow. We serve 1,000 families a year, and over the last 13, 14 years have served thousands upon thousands of kids and their families.
Now, how do you make your company known that there's resources there for children in needs?
The thing about the special needs community is it's incredibly tight. So as soon as one person finds out about something and they're positive about the experience, it spreads like wildfire. Honestly, like we need more organizations to come together to serve
Hmm.
this audience, because for safety concerns and everything else and the experience of the athletes, we have to keep them to a set number of participants per event. So we're turning away literally hundreds, if not up to 1,000 families each event, which is heartbreaking for us. We just don't have the capacity, the finances, the people. 99% of the people at these events where we have 100 plus volunteers are unpaid. It's just they're volunteers. We have like 2 staff members, and so it's a scale issue at this point. And so I'm as I mentioned earlier, the industry's growing fast. There are a lot of more orgs forming, and so I would encourage anyone who like hears this and is touched by it to like go and make an impact and launch your own organization, because the need is there. These families are really clamoring for this, and there's a lot of interesting new ways to approach this. Some organizations are forming not as nonprofits but as for-profits, because there's a lot of funding now available, especially at the state level in certain states, where they allow families with children with special needs to actually choose the like alternative therapies that they want for their child, and the state will pay for it. And so
Hmm.
we're seeing a lot of that starting to pop up, and families are able to make this like an official therapeutic element of their regimen.
Now, what ages do you or are you able to help?
Yeah, we've taken children less than 1 year old, and we've taken senior citizens up to 90 years old. For a long time in New York, when we first launched that program, we had a special day just for senior citizens of an elderly care center for folks with disability and unique needs. That some of them had literally never been in the ocean in their life, and they were in their 70s, and we got them on a surfboard into the ocean, and that was kind of freaking magical. We did events in the past where we served military members, ex or active military folks who are going through those kind of traumas. But generally, our target audience is your, say, 3 to 14-year-old child.
Now, if I imagine that you guys have a website, a place where people can go, they can see what you
Yeah.
do. if somebody
A
has a family?
walkonwater.org, or if it's easier, the acronym AWOW, and we say AWOW. So AWOW.org will get you there as well.
And yeah, so that would be great if somebody's listening that wants to volunteer or wants to
Yep.
start a nonprofit
Yeah,
to be
sign up to
able.
volunteer. There's options to donate. There's ways to share it with other people. If you've got someone in your life that has, child with special needs and you want them to know about it, there's links you can share. There's opportunities, obviously, to sign your own child up if you're listening and you want your child to participate. And then you can always just email me, Sean at a walkonwater.org, SEAN at a walkonwater.org, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the program.
Now, what do you guys do about funding? How do you go about fundraising and to be able to support these programs?
Yeah, I mean, we did we've done a ton of work over the years to establish relationships, to build relationships with donors, both corporate and just large family investors and people like that. There's a ton of grassroots fundraising that happens. We have volunteers who just give so much of themselves to help raise money for our events. There's a lot of in-kind donations where companies like Habit Burger recently donated lunch at our event in Huntington Beach for the entire beach, which was incredible. So those kind of things help save on the cost of putting on these events because they're all the services we're providing adjacent to the surfing, like I mentioned, food, coffee, live music, massage, all these things, the wetsuits, the boards, these are constantly getting used and have to be replaced. So a lot of costs involved in this.
Hmm.
So in-kind donations are great, but we've got great relationships like Paul Mitchell, the hair care
Right, right.
product company, has been a long time title sponsor of Walk on Water. So they are a significant donor to us year after year, and we're super grateful to JP and everyone at Paul Mitchell for their donations over the years. And we do what we can to continue to nurture those relationships and make sure we can grow. Um, the other thing we do is we established a fund years ago that we contribute a portion of donations to that just sits as an investment and grows. And our hope is that we can get it to the point that the interest off that account allows the organization to run in perpetuity, no matter what, if donors go away, or in 50 years when all of us who started are long gone, the organization is hopefully still serving these families in need forever. Is our,
Hmm.
that would be a legacy I would be really proud to leave behind.
That sounds like amazing work, Sean. Now, let's take a step back to 2012 when you
Mhm.
started it. Did you know how to organize it? Did you know how to put a board together? Did you know how to do
No
corporate
way.
structure?
There were so many painful learnings. Pat and I and Josh and Steven and Jason and Jason Logan and those of us who were there at the beginning building this thing, we had to learn the hard way. None of us had launched a nonprofit before. A few of us had launched businesses before, but boy,
Hmm.
the legalities and the regulations and all the things involved around nonprofit were a lot more hoops to jump through. So we learned painful lessons. And I always tell people who reach out for advice on launching a nonprofit, like, please come talk to me. I want to help you skip all those painful
Right,
lessons so you can get right to
right.
the good stuff and making an impact. So yeah, it's difficult. And I mean, I was working full time like everyone was that helped start it. And we were putting in, our 40, 50-hour work weeks, and then we were putting 30, 40 hours into Walk on Water at night and the weekends because it was that important to us, and we wanted to create something real and lasting. So yeah, no experience building a nonprofit, but have since gained quite a bit.
So, okay, so here's another question. So you didn't know anything about that, and you figured it out, and
Yep.
there's pain points to go through and growing pains, just like any entity, enterprise that you put together. But also tell us how important it is to have your spouse on board, because if you're working 50 hours and then you say, hey, I'm going to be gone and I need another 30 hours this week, 40 hours this week on this other job, it's like, how do you deal with that, and how do you make it still successful, both the family life and the business life?
It's a good question. Boy, I'm lucky with the wife I have, and I'm lucky that this was all happening prior to my first child being born. She was born in 2018. I have a 7 and a 3-year-old daughter. And my wife at the time was in residency. So she was gone 60 to 80 hours a week, if not
Right.
more. So it kind of worked out. We just never saw each other for
Yeah.
about a 2 year period as we got AOL up and running. And it worked out. I'm kind of grateful. Like I had moved out to Redlands where she was at Loma Linda. So I kind of moved away from all my friends and everyone I knew in Orange County. I'd never lived in the IE. And it was kind of a blessing that I was building this at the same time I was working and commuting. I was commuting to Irvine for work. I was taking the train or driving every day. And so on the way in and way back, I was on the phone with, people, donors, IRS, all these different things that I had to get done. And so it helped me to just stay busy while I was, while my wife was away for most of every day.
So yeah, so that worked out
That worked out.
because it did, right? Because that
Yeah.
way, so that's yeah, but that's interesting. But now that she finished her residency, now it's like you got to figure out to, hey, you're in it together, I guess, in a sense, to be able to be supportive of each other for that.
100%. And again, that's why I don't want to oversell like my current life. Like I said, when we got pregnant with our second child a few years ago, I voluntarily stepped off the board of AWOW. I said, I've got this job at Omnidian now. It's really demanding my time. I've got now 2 children. I've got a wife who's a full-time surgeon. Like she's incredibly busy, right? So I do as much as I can today for AWOW within my time constraints. But yeah, like I said, there's an incredible team now who are running the organization day to day because it's a 24/7 job to keep that thing going. We host nearly 20 events a year now on both coasts, and so it's a big enterprise. And
Right. But it's amazing to be able to be all hands on deck from day one on your own, wearing every single different hat possible, and then being able to build it into an organization that continues to do the work and carry on the vision that you had, but be able to step back from it and it keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking a little bit when we started this call on just like how you approach life with what attitude and what demeanor and
Yeah.
what intentionality. I think
Yeah.
if you're really intentional about what you're trying to create in the world, you're really clear on your passions and what you want to build and the life you want to live and what you want to create as far as relationships and connection to other humans, all of a sudden, like lanes open up that weren't apparent. You get super focused and intentional on what you have to achieve, and everything else gets blocked out. It's like I wasn't watching TV during those years. I wasn't like playing. I still don't. I don't play video games. I don't have like any spare time for any of that, and that's fine. Like I was like, this is the most important thing. This is the
Building.
second most important thing. This is the third most important thing. Anything else, it's not going to make the list. That's just the
Right.
reality. And that's actually a really freeing way to live because it allows you to just be passionate every day about everything you do.
So that means so people sometimes speak about having a balanced life, but in order to succeed and to accomplish your dreams, that doesn't exist. There's no balance. It's like tunnel vision focused. I know what I want. I know what I want to build. Put the time and effort in, and like you said, block everything else out, and it gets you there.
I think it's still a balance, Danny, but I think if you look at a pendulum, instead of some people are like, oh, it's my work and my family on one side, and the other side is uh, TV and relaxing and drinking and this and that. You have to get rid of all that bullshit,
Yeah.
and you have to take these things over here, and then the balance is my work over here and my family and my other relationships over here, and that's the life balance I'm searching for. Like,
Right.
how do I
Very.
how do I be great in the workplace and for my team? And how do I be great at home for my children, my wife, and for me? Like I have to take time for me, make sure I'm loved and feeling good. So I have the love to give and the connection to give to the people that need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's a very well put to look at it. Let me put the important things on the scale and balance those, not the time wasters or anything that doesn't contribute to what I'm trying to accomplish.
You can only fully reach your dreams if you get rid of, you have to say no to half the junk in your life, right? It's really
Yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
let stuff creep in, especially when it feels good or is simple. It's like, I'm working so hard all the time. I deserve to just relax on the couch and watch TV for 2 hours. It's like, as we get rid of some of that, it opens up all that extra time for you to focus on the
Hmm.
stuff that's really
Hmm.
impactful and makes you feel good.
Yeah. Amazing, Sean. Uh, Congratulations on everything you've done. Now, as we wrap up our interview, what does the next 6 or 12 months look like for you?
Oh, it looks like a lot of excitement. I'm actually just coming. My wife and I spent last week at a 6-day personal development conference. We've been going for years to an organization called PSI Seminars, PSI. They have a huge Orange County contingent, actually. And they're just incredible events that help you refocus. And that's why I feel really clear right now about my purpose. And so I'm looking at building the vision for the rest of my life and starting to put that into action over the next 6 to 12 months. So I want to get even more intentional around how do I get maximum amount of like quality real time with my kids while they're still young so I can just build the basis for like who they are in their future and make sure they feel like fully supported and loved by me, and that our relationship is amazing. And then same thing with my wife. We both work so much and have so much going on with the kids. I want to make sure our relationship is staying rock solid. And so that's going to give us a foundation that allows me to try some crazy things over the next year or so. I want to get creative around where we live and work from. I think Lourdes and I both have ideas on like we'd love to travel more, and can we do that and still keep our work and everything going, and educate our children maybe more uniquely to allow us to have more of that freedom. So I've got a lot of ideas coming out of the last day of the event was Sunday, so I'm still starting to start put them on paper and put them into action. But thank you for asking, because boy, am I excited about what the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, no, exciting stuff. Well, and you know what you mentioned earlier, but I'm going to ask again.
Mhm.
We know people are listening, and we know that people might want to get involved in different capacities, and they might need your help. So once again, how can somebody get a hold of you?
Yeah, so a few different ways. So if you're interested in learning about the charitable work and a walk on water, email me, Sean at awalkonwater.org, or go to our website, awow.org. If you're interested in renewable energy and you want to get solar on your house or have questions about your car or EV charging, feel free to ping me as well on LinkedIn. Or I don't want to give you my work email because it'll confuse you with too many emails. But just add me on LinkedIn. I'm super active there. I will answer any questions that if you direct message me there, and I will respond positively to your friend request if you do so. And I'm happy to talk anything around any of those subjects. And if you just want general questions about life and balancing it all, I'm always happy to like lend an ear to someone who just needs it.
Awesome, Sean. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the show and giving us so much insight on being able to help these children and your work with that. And also to thank you to our audience for listening. And if you want to follow us on ocpowerplayers.com and go to your favorite channel. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, Danny. This was really a pleasure. I'm grateful for you having me on.
Sure.
Thanks for listening to Orange County Power Players. Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at ocpowerplayers.com/guest.